Hey there, I'm John and Jester, whichever, it doesn't really matter. Is Space Marine 2 really worth it right now? Yeah, kind of. But also, nah, not really. So, I have multiple thoughts and experiences with this game. I've got a lot of time played with it. I'm going to put a video of me playing it here and scoot over a little bit so you can just watch that stuff and ignore me. But basically, Space Marine 2, the campaign story is fantastic. It's really good time. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The only issues I had were some of the gameplay elements, which is the bigger issue that I have with this game, and I will go into that details in the later segment, I suppose. But campaign is fantastic. The multiplayer PvP section is standard. It's all right. It doesn't really do anything, off the cusp and crazy. It's just your Space Marines and you're shooting each other. It feels pretty good. I've only played one match, but it felt all right. Now, the operations mode, that's where my major beef is, because that's meant to be the main gameplay loop after the campaign is done. Campaign like a book, close the book, move on. However, the operations are supposed to be 6 missions that you can then go through over and over again with friends and level up and upgrade weapons and get a kind of loop of gameplay into it. And it starts off as you would expect. You start off with the bare bones equipment, the basics, no skills, just bare bones equipment. And you go in. Fun. Yay. You go through on the easiest difficulty. Perfectly fine. And this game's fine in the easier difficulty. Like, because the gameplay engine is good, but the gameplay itself is fine at lower levels because there's an abundance of items. There's like enemies aren't huge and very very aggressive. They don't do tremendous amounts of damage. Like they don't do tremendous amounts of damage. So it it feels more balanced. It feels more fun. Surprise. And then you start to get more levels. You need more coins. You need stronger weapons. And how do you get stronger weapons? The harder difficulties. So you start playing on the harder difficulties. And that's where they add more bosses, take away some of the items. They ramp up the enemy damage and numbers, the aggressiveness. And the skills you get are kind of mid. They're kind of just meh. Like, they're not great. They're not amazing. Like, some of the perks are really, really... They don't sound useful in the slightest. And why would you choose, like, oh, reduces recoil by 20% over, doing 5% extra damage or something like that? Or the perks that's like, oh, when you're doing a heavy attacks won't send you flying. That's great. Can I have something that stops me from taking all of my health in damage when I do a heavy attack instead? That would be better, slightly. Just a tiny bit. And so you start doing the harder difficulties, and that's when the cracks start to show, in my opinion. And my friends basically have stated that, they enjoy it. But I have not in the last couple of years had a game make me want to rage quit, quite like the 3rd and 4th difficulty on operations. Today, literally today. The reason why I'm making this video right now is because the difficulty going through a chaos mission on level 3 was AIDS. It was ass. It was horrible. It was the worst experience ever. I sat there just drained of all determination, all wants to play the game. It just flew out of me. I am standing there shooting a Terminator in the face with my bolt gun. Bolt guns. Supposed to punch a hole through literally everything. It's strong weapon. I emptied all of my bullets into this thing before it even went into an executable stance. And all it did was, thankfully, fire rocket bombardments at me, which curve around cover sometimes. But thankfully, I was rolling that far behind cover that I was fine and popping out. That's not gameplay. That's just boring. That's boring gameplay. It's not good. But before all that, the part that actually made my soul leave my body was me and my friend and the AI enter a room, kill a bunch of enemies. If you played the mission, you know the mission. And then all the enemies spawn in. And they come in with little cultists with their rifles who shoot constantly. And the Space Marines spawn in with their rifles, shooting constantly. They do a lot of damage, break your armor instantaneously, and then inflict you with a curse that basically makes it so you hallucinate little targets shooting at you from all directions constantly for a while. And not only that, little like bird goat people with like shields and swords basically run straight to you, swarm you, lunge violently at you, do the jumps at you, and they take numerous shots from any bolt rifle, so you don't really do any damage to them. And the best way I've found to defeat them is to just stand there and parry, which isn't gameplay. That's just passive defensiveness. So I'm standing there whilst all these small fry are coming at me, just doing over and over again, parry, 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 parry. Because you can't attack, you can't do any kind of form of aggression because they'll block it with their shields. Or it'll take 2 or 3 or 4 hits to take these like chaos minions down. But in that space of time where you're attacking 1 or 2 in a group, 3 or 4 of them are attacking at the same time, as well as you're being shot at constantly. So you're having to roll around and reposition and parry and parry. And you always put on the back step. You're always putting your back foot, blocking, parrying, and rolling away, and escaping, retreating, and finding cover where there is none. Because wherever you go, they teleport to you, and then they do their unblockables and their parryables, and they teleport to you, and then they do their attacks, and it is relentless and it is constant, and there is no moment to breathe. There's no moment to stop and go, Jesus Christ, can I breathe, or at least attack or retaliate in some way, shape, or form? And you just can't do that. And then when the difficulty ramps up, it demands perfection of you. It wants you to be perfect every step of the way. If you don't want to take health damage, you need to make sure you're keeping up your 3 armor segments that can be whittled down by bullets rather quickly, or just immediately melted away by any random hit. Then considering a group of about 15 enemies will attack in their groups of 4 or 5, quite often, and quite frequently, very frequently in fact, meaning you can't attack at all. You literally have to be on the parry, and you also have to be dodging, and you also, as soon as you finish dodging, they're attacking where they're going to catch you rolling, so you have to block again, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And you can't then return fire and stop the ones shooting at you because they take about 4 magazines to go down. Fun. You got the flamers that teleport. As soon as you get out of their range of their flame attack, they teleport pretty much next to you so they can continue shooting you. And if you get up close thinking, okay, well, I'll just outdo your turn cycle, they shoot the floor around them, so you have to roll away from them so they can turn around and start spraying you some more. But all the time that's happening, you're being shot at from range, and you're having small guys come at you. And then you got snipers in the distance who are humans who blend in with the stairs and the floor, who shoot at you from a distance. And it's the same with the Tyranids. It's the exact same shit. You're going through tiny, small amounts of like little bladed warriors coming at you, and then you have the big ones with the whips, with the shotguns, with the floor shooters, with the 2 blades. You've got the small ones shooting at you. You've got everything going on, and it's constant over and over and over and over and over and over again. And as I have said with in my rant on the forums for the game. There's just no pause. The AI is just aggressive and constant. No one in the history of man has turned around and said, oh my god, I am overworked, I'm stressed out, I'm miserable, I've got to look after my family, my pets, my friends, my hobbies, the house, the car, I've got to pay the bills, I've got to work, I've got no time for myself, I'm running on 2 hours of sleep, I haven't eaten, I'm struggling to live, everything is hurting, I cannot do a single thing without having 7 other things going on at the same time, I'm having so much fun. No, that never happens, because it ain't fun. It's a bullet hell. But who asked for that? Right? So I could rant and complain about this for days. But so the gameplay loop isn't great. And I can give you multiple scenarios, and I will probably tell you the same scenarios. You're in a combat situation. bunch of enemies are literally coming around in right up to your feet because they just immediately, as soon as they see you, come straight to you and then surround you. And so you have to literally be on the back foot, start moving back up and start, backing up a little bit and defending yourself. So you start to parry the small fry because you can't get an attack off without being attacked. So you have to parry to stop yourself from taking armor damage. So you're starting to parry and starting to do this thing. So you do an attack and then something jumps at you. So you counter it and then you get a bit of armor segment back, but then you get hit in the same process. And then a big enemy comes in and does an unblockable. So you have to roll out the way. And as soon as you finish rolling, you've been clipped by an enemy jumping at you to do the attack. So you parry again, and then you try and you do a reaction shot to try and get, like, you do a heavy attack to get a reaction shot to get another armor segment back, and you're just constantly battling to keep this armor thing up, which means the whole repeatable process is parry, perfect dodge, reaction shot, counter jump, execute a target where you see the same animation over and over and over and over again, which is very exhausting. It's kind of like Doom, only instead of getting health back on executions, you get nothing back on executions. And then it's just terrible. It's a really bad system. And I have suggested improvements. The improvements I can think of, which would greatly increase this game's just anything, is about 0.3, 0.5% of your health back when you kill elites. What are they called? Minoris Majoris. When you kill any enemy, you should get a very tiny amount of your health back. So if you play well, if you play sufficiently, you can get your health back and recover from any situation that you've been thrust into. Maybe also have health back on executions. So an execution can be a way to get back into the fight and not just what you're supposed to do, because it just feels like you're constantly on the defense, you're constantly on the passive, that you can't do anything and you have to play perfectly, and the game just isn't built for perfect because sometimes the parries just don't work. Sometimes you'll get staggered into oblivion and you can't retaliate, you can't do anything, you just take numerous hits over and over again because something clipped you and took it, like, all your health away. I had one instance where I was being attacked by like 2 majors and a bunch of small Minoris, and I parried a Minoris, and as soon as I did the parry animation for the Minoris, a heavy started doing an unblockable attack, and as he did the unblockable attack, I was just coming out of the animation for the parry where you can't do anything, and I took a hit, which then caused me to stagger, which caused me to get hit by more of the small ones, to get hit by a whip, to get pulled in, to then get up, to try and do the parry, to get hit in the back, to try and do this, and you just end up in this catch-up situation where there's no way to catch up because you've lost health for reasons out of your control. You can't do anything about it, and you can't recover it except for by using an item, the medical stim stuff, which is a rare resource that everybody in the group needs, and it doesn't make you feel good. Like, everyone just hoards that stuff because like, I might need this for when this game decides to fuck me in the ass. Like, it's not great. And then that's the only means of getting health back, because the contested health is pathetic. Like, you get hit, and then in the space of time that you've been hit, like, your health is like this, you get hit down to here, and then all this is white health, and then in that space of time it dissipates. By the time you've reacted and gone, oh Jesus Christ, I've been hit, I better attack to get some of my health back, it's already half disappeared. Like, there are times where I've been grabbed, and because I've only got I'm a vanguard with only 2 health segments, by the time I've destroyed my controller's thumbstick by wiggling it left and right to break free, I've basically lost all my armor and half of my health, and by the time I've struggled getting up, going, oh, that was a bit of a hard fight, now I'll get back my, oh, it's gone. Like, because you don't get enough time to actually recover any kind of health. If they had a system in place where instead of losing your health completely like that, they should just have it so your health is always recoverable, but every piece of damage that you take also takes a tiny bit of permanent health down. So the more damage you take over time without healing, the smaller your health pool goes, to the point where you don't, like, you basically become one hit and stay one hit the entire time. Like, that would be like better, because like you'd be able to then push the advantage and be aggressive and actually use melee weapons. The more time, like the most times I use like the assault class and I'm using the hammer, I don't want to use the hammer. I want to use anything that's faster, because when you use the hammer, you're swinging around this huge hammer and you feel great, you feel fantastic, but the enemies are just getting up and saying, yes, please, I would like another. And you just smash through them and they get up, and you smash through them and they get up and you smash through them. And oh my God, they decided to die finally. Fantastic. Like, but if you try and do any of the heavy attacks, oh yeah, do a combo. Great. Do a combo into what? Taking damage, because I've spent more time trying to set up a combo than blocking and rolling away, because the enemy's aggression is through the roof. It's not fair. It's not great. It's not fun gameplay. It's stressful. You spend all of your time trying to literally go, duh! Like, it's fine for like lower difficulties, but anything past normal, and it starts to get stupid. And that's just the Tyranids. Up against the Chaos, anything above minimal is annoying, because it's not the gameplay style that they've gone for, does not suit the game that they're going for. Like, that health system is probably great for a fighting sim, but it isn't great for a third person action sim thing like this. Like, it's just not great. It's just not amazing. It's terrible, awful, horrible even. And so you'll just spend all your time. But the thing is as well, it's like, it's not even that. Like, you'll be in the middle of combat. You'll be in the middle of combat with small fry and small like mages attacking you in hand-to-hand combat, and you're just like constantly trying to dance between the 2 overly aggressive mages and the 17 overly aggressive minorous characters. And you're also being shot at by a bunch of miners in the distance and a bunch of mages in the distance with snipers and spore shooters and shotgun blasts, and it doesn't stop. There's no reprieve, there's no breather, there's no time to stop and reflect and go, right, what can I do next? You can't stop in the middle of defending and rolling to start shooting the ones in the distance to say, hey, fucking stop it, because you just take so much damage. I have got a couple of clips, begrudgingly, I don't clip every single time, because it would be in every single session, every single mission I go into. And the reason I've said before is that, like, there's only 2 missions you're going to go into is because the first mission's great and the one against the tyrant is great, but the other one that brings in the sandstorm, which makes it hard to see, no one wants to go through that because it's just miserable. What's the point? You can't see anything. Why would you play that? It's like, just turn your TV off. There you go. Enjoy your game. It doesn't work. And then the other 3 missions are against chaos, and no one's enjoying the chaos. They are way too difficult because the enemy's AI isn't designed to be, game friendly. It's designed to be, just aggressive for the sake of aggressive. It's like they've tested these AI against like singular like one-on-ones and stuff, where it's been a small group of enemies against the player, or one of these mages against the player, and not 15 with like 200 small ones, and then a bunch of small soldiers in between who have sniper rifles who can do like a good 60% of your health in damage with one sniper shot because you wasn't paying attention slightly. Like, and then there's no means to recover. There's no means to, like, literally go, okay, I caught a stray hit, but I can bring this back. It's, oh no, I caught a stray hit. Now I'm one shot forever until I find a health item and I can get to it before my random teammates do. Or my other friend over there has also taken 2 stray hits. He's very low on health. He might as well have 30% of his health back so he can go back to being 1 hit. Like, it's not fun. It doesn't make you feel like a space marine. It makes you feel like a LARPer stuffed into a war zone, wrapped with cling film and aluminium foil. And they just go, oh, well, you can find an armor shard. That's great. Great. An extra layer of aluminium foil. Can't wait. That'll stop about nothing, because it disappears instantaneously. It takes 25 seconds to come back, and it's just awful. The armor system is terrible right now. It needs to easily be like 10 times more durable than it currently is, and have like more means of getting it back if they're going to keep it like this, because it's just exhausting. It's exhausting. You spend all of your time in combat literally trying to keep your armor up high whilst trying to deal with the small fry, and you just can't do that. And then when you go up against the chaos, it turns from, okay, get in, kill the majors so you can drop all the small ones around it, fantastic, to, Okay, get in cover and hope they don't teleport behind you and hit you with an unblockable. And that's not even talking about the Terminators. I mean, you can probably find all this on the forums because I posted my suggestion of health back on a kill in there, and plus with all my other ideas. Um, but you can also see my rant where I've literally just typed all of my thoughts down because Jesus Christ, it makes me so angry that this game, though so good and could be so amazing, has this much of a short-sighted approach when it comes to gameplay because of some reason. In PvP, you get health regen, and it makes sense that the armor is this flimsy in PvE and PvP because you're going up against players. It's supposed to have some kind of kill time. You can't just be sat there like you're shooting the Terminator, or every single magazine just fucking shooting the whole time. And you know you can't be doing that. That's not multiplayer. So it makes sense in the multiplayer, especially with the health regen. That makes sense in PvP. In PvE though, it would be nice if in the campaign and in the main in like the operations mode that we could get some health back on kills, that we could get health back on executions, that we could have in maybe instead we always have health steal, but our maximum health is reduced unless we use a health stim to replenish our maximum health bar up. That would make sense. It's just such an old and archaic health system that, you know, could be so much better. But I mean, if you added in these extra like recoverable options where people can literally fight back, you allow the players to have more agency, to actually experience the rest of the game, to use combos, to be aggressive, to use the other weapons, to have more fun and more engagement the way they want to play. But as it is right now, the only way I can play this game is by using a heavy, by being incredibly passive, by shooting crowds constantly and over again, and just being incredibly defensive and passive. When I think Space Marine, I don't think of someone rolling around, running away screaming, and parrying all the time. I imagine a soldier wearing huge armor with guns, shooting down foes, destroying them no problem. I don't even care that the weapons feel like wet noodles half the time. I like the fact that it feels like you're a Space Marine. But on the harder difficulties, which is where the game is basically pushing you to go, it's not fun. It's not good. It doesn't make you feel like a Space Marine. It makes you feel like an Imperial soldier running away from a rolling Space Marine. Like, you're just going to be panicking and screaming and dodging and rolling and parrying and repeating the same process and then running between execution to parry to reaction shot just to survive. That's not gameplay. It might as well be a rhythm game if it's going to continue like this. It's ridiculous. Like, so can I suggest this game to anybody right now in this current state? No. Because if I feel like they're going to literally play it for just the story alone, yeah, of course. Pick the game up, play through the story, really good. You could probably, because it's so small, you could probably get away with just watching it online instead. Read the lore from all the lore channels out there because there are some really good lore about Space Marines and the Warhammer universe in general. But if you want to pick this game up and the season pass and you want to apply a lot of time into this game and just keep on playing and playing and playing and playing and playing and having a really good time, then I can't suggest it to you because the campaign's great. The operations, there's only 6 missions. It's repeatable as fuck. It's repetitive as fuck as well. And it's just boring after a while. You can't keep doing this. It needed the Horde mode out yesterday to give it some kind of life. But what could even easier give it more life is if instead of it being demanding of perfection, it actually gave you the freedom to play the game as the way you want to play it, in a way that's more forgiving to the player. Because I also said this in the forum where I posted. I said, like, it's essentially the equivalent of loading up a Call of Duty match where it's you against 20 AI that all have wall hacks, can shoot you through walls, and have LMGs. Why would you play that? Why would you play that in the slightest? You wouldn't. And if you did, you'd spend more time on the ground or running for your life or trying to find somewhere where, you know, they're not shooting you or you're out of their range or something like that than you would do anything. It's not fun. So my heartfelt cry to the devs is to say, please implement stronger armor, better armor, more health recovery items, maybe even just have it so like there's additional different types of healing items where you can hold them on, because like the left bumper, the left D-pad doesn't do anything. You could have like health recovery items on that and a stim on the right. You know, shake it up, add some extra healing items, make it so people can regenerate their health, make it so people can continuously do more than what they're doing right now, because right now it's fucking ass, it's horrible. Bring in better health, better armor, and tone down the aggressiveness of the AI. That kind of AI difficulty can be savored for saved for the hardest levels that you want to design, that you can add it to like an extra tier of difficulty if you really want to go crazy with this stuff. Like, oh, I have a vision where a game is so hard that it just turns your Xbox off for you, turns off your PC and your PlayStation, and it just slaps you in the face. Like, as soon as you die in the game, it just comes to your house and kills you for real. That's the kind of difficulty we want. Good for you. Make another game and call it "Don't play this game," because that's exactly what people are going to do. Like, we want games that are fun, that games that don't stress us out, that aren't an absolute waste of our time. We want to play games and have fun. I want this game to do well. I want this game to do really well. I want this game to excel. I want it to have all of the Space Marine chapters come into it. I want to have more levels. I want to have better repeatable levels, longer levels to some degree. I want better rewards, more weapons, more like things. Some new enemy types would be cool as well. I would love to see more of the Warhammer universe through the scope of a Space Marine kicking ass, doing the Emperor's name justice. But I want it to be behind a better like system for like combat, health recovery, armor recovery, and AI against you and your AI against them. Like, I would like better everything like this, because in its current state, I have no faith in this game. And that's someone who's put 2 days of playtime into this game already. I have the luxury of not having a life. I just play games. I play a lot of games. I've played a lot of games over the course of my life. And I can safely say that, like, this is a game that I can bet people will stop playing in a year if it continues like this in this current state. That doesn't make me happy. That doesn't bring me joy. I want this game to succeed. Anyway, this is a bit of a more melancholy complaint, I suppose. I'm just a little bit miffed, a little bit annoyed by the experiences of this game. No game should make me feel so annoyed and frustrated that I just want to quit. My friends have said skill issue. However, whenever we go into these missions, I'm the one who takes the least amount of damage. Anyway. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the game. If you don't like the game or you think the game is great, you can leave a comment below and just, you know, whatever. If you agree with me, or if you feel like my message should be really heard and should be shouted from the rooftops, then share it around. I would greatly appreciate it. I've got like 1 or 2 other videos that I've started like this, and I might just merge them all together into parts and really Frankenstein this to see how far I can make it work. But I find myself really insufferable to listen to, so I doubt I'll really do too much with that. But if you did like this video and you want to see more content like this, I don't know why you would, then leave a like, subscribe, share me around. It really does help. You can always watch some of my streams sometimes. It's totally up to you. I'm always looking to make new friends, as long as you're not a piece of shit. I'm currently not in the greatest of moods, but it is what it is. And fingers crossed that Space Marine gets their finger out of their arse and makes their game more fun to play, or they've lost me, and they may lose quite a bunch of you in the future as well. That's all I'm going to say for now. Laters.